I feel
Oh my
like dad
God.
shoes are type of thing, like
Oh
are a
yeah.
big thing. Like you become a dad and all of a sudden you have to have a pair of New Balance.
Yeah.
That's what
Turn
they
it back on.
issued to us in basic training, or New Balance sneakers.
Three, two, one. Hey everyone, and welcome to the wonderful world of weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. I am here again with the wonderful Allesha Groom. We are actually back here for episode 2 of the planning podcast because we really need to talk about wedding planning. There is so much involved. You need to know how to plan your wedding if you're doing it on your own. Obviously, if you have a planner, which Alicia specializes in, and just letting you know, she is from Be Remembered. We are sponsored by Be Remembered, where you can have a wonderful wedding. And we do everything here at Be Remembered from photo, video, event planning, DJ, makeup, coordination, photo booth. The list goes on. Go ahead and check us out at BeRememberedWeddings.com. But let's get right into this and pick up where we last started.
Yeah, I think we're at that 4 to 5 month mark now.
We are. So the last time I had you on and everyone listened in, hopefully you did. If not, go back and listen. We are available on iHeartRadio, a bunch of different podcast outlets. So if you want to go re-listen to that episode prior, we totally understand. We know this is live, but I would go check that out because we went through everything from that 18 or 12 to 18 months all the way down to 6 to 8 months. So we're going to go right into the 4 to 5 months now.
Yes.
And before the show, we were talking about this idea that we really were building the foundation from 18 months all the way down to now, right? To
Yeah.
that 6 to 8 month period. But 4 to 5 months, we're starting to button it up, right?
Yeah, at this time, you should have all of your vendors booked. You
Mm,
should have all of the details pretty much figured out. Now we're crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and just making sure that we're ready to go.
hmm
And putting out any potential fires,
Right,
our
right,
wedding fires. We
right.
were talking about it last time.
Yeah.
Um, your dress should be in by now. You should be
hmm
getting ready to do those fittings, making sure that any changes that need to be made are done. Making sure that the rest of your bridal party is ready to go. Groomsmen, order those tucks, get the
Mm,
shoes in. Bridesmaids, make sure your dresses are in, that you've got your fittings taken care of. Don't forget outfits for mom,
yeah.
dad, ushers, flower girls,
All
wedding
right.
bearers,
So you bring up a good point that never gets talked about. It's the men.
the
And so
men.
they are an afterthought in this whole process, it feels like. And
It used to be.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know. I know. Actually, a lot of research indicates that men are being a bigger part of the decision
they
making,
definitely are.
which I'm
They,
proud of all of you.
yeah, I like seeing it. I like seeing the grooms involved. It makes the planning process really easy.
Mm,
It helps getting to know the couple too,
yeah.
like getting to know
Yeah.
them as a couple, like being able to really, and I know you hate this term, vibe with them.
Oh my God. Well, no, no, no. I hate it from the sales perspective because I hear it from salespeople outside of this industry. That's where my hatred came from. Where it's like we need to vibe. I'm like, oh, okay. I was
Well,
like, really?
Well,
So,
I mean, in all actuality, planners should be
hmm,
vibing with their couples.
yeah,
They're building a relationship. They're
right.
helping execute one of the most important days that they're going to have together as a couple.
Do you know what guys tend to get very involved within though is the video. They
Yes,
are very, very interested in the video
yes,
side of things.
it's cool,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
this different perspective and like a way for them to look at the wedding as not just this event that they have to dress up nice for, but now
Right.
there's like this really cool technical aspect that they can get behind.
But I also have a feeling that guys do better in genuine situations. We'll try that. And I think video really pulls that out. And
Yeah.
so they tend to be more attracted to it. And guys also watch long form videos all the time. I mean, we're obsessed with YouTube, so it definitely shows.
Definitely the
Um,
guys in my house.
yeah, yeah. Oh, me too. I love YouTube. So that being said, for the tuxes, when is the right time to go order those? How long is that backed up like the dresses right now, or not so much?
I would say if you're doing anything custom, if you're
Mm.
going to do a custom tux, 6 months or before.
Oh,
If
okay.
you're renting,
Mm.
that's a bit of a different story because they're going to have the tuxes in house. They're going to have the seamstress in house, and it's going
Yeah.
to more than likely be local.
Okay.
I do, however, guys, if you're wearing a suit, girls, if you're wearing a suit,
Mm.
find something that you can wear again.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
this
Yeah.
does not have to be the end all be all tux. Like you
Mm.
can have like a really nice suit, have it fitted to you,
Yeah.
and, wear it again, use it again. Don't let that money go to waste.
Right. Right. Oh, okay. I never thought about that too. What
Hmm.
happens to that afterwards? Because the dress, you're never wearing a white dress again, but you could wear a
No.
tuxedo suit again.
Oh, you definitely could. The dresses
Yeah.
get preserved
Right.
nine
Right.
times out
Right.
of 10 or donated
Yeah.
or sold. And some
Mm,
people want to keep the dress for nostalgic reasons. Some want to pass it on to future children.
sure.
And then others are just like, no, I don't need this big thing hanging in my closet. So they'll just get rid of it, sell it,
Right.
donate it, whoever needs it.
Now, I made a mistake. Yes, I did.
This is the
Many.
first people Dan admitted.
Yeah. um, we never talked about your background. I know we did that in
We
the
did.
first. No,
Oh, this time.
yes, this time around. Just in case anyone's just like, hey, guys, I'm not going back. I'm not listening. Can you just tell everyone about yourself a little bit? Give us a
Oh,
little bit of that.
yes, yes. I always have to say this. I feel like I'm a mom.
Mm.
I'm a mom. I'm a mom of six. I am a veteran.
Sex, jeez.
Yeah, six kids. Mom of six. I'm a veteran of the Air Force. That's where I started my event planning. It started with the holiday party, and then someone said, "You're
right.
good at this," and they're like, "Can you help me plan my wedding?" And then, word of mouth, and it just kind of spiraled out.
Hmm.
So yeah, I've been doing this since 2009.
Yes. Yes, we
Yeah.
were talking about that. And that, yesterday when you said that, or yesterday, the last time we talked
Yeah.
when you said that, I went, wow, that's not a long time. And then I realized we're in 2022.
We're in 2022, and I
Almost
am no longer
2023.
20 years
Yes,
old anymore.
yes, 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 yes.
I
And
was 20 in 2009. You guys can do the math.
so, so quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, and things have changed too in the planning
Definitely.
process. And
Yeah.
maybe that's something we can just kind of talk about
Yeah.
in the fourth. So we are going to have a few segments here. And in the fourth segment, we can
Mhm.
go ahead and just chat on that a little
Yeah,
bit.
totally. Totally.
What is changing? Maybe some future trends you're seeing occur,
Mm.
which I think would be really interesting. I know I'm throwing things on the spot with you here, but I just thought to myself, things do change so often in this industry, especially since COVID. So we'll chat about all this. But all right, since I made my mistake, we've reconciled with that. Let's get back into our 4 to 5 months.
All right.
We talked about the guys, their tux. 6 months plus for custom. See a lot of guys doing the custom inserts right now, the
Yeah.
custom liners. Really cool. I like it.
Great. Order them early.
Okay.
I'm always rule of thumb. Order them early. Order everything as early as you possibly can. That
Yeah.
way, if it comes in for whatever reason, it doesn't fit, you don't like it, you need something different. That way you have time
You
to
lose
get a new
weight.
one. Yeah, you lose weight.
Or you
But
gain
moving
weight.
on. I didn't want to say that.
Well, you know what though? We had a contest in my gym before a wedding to see who could rip out of their.
Oh my
Yes,
goodness. You're terrible, Dan. All right, moving on, moving on.
Sorry.
Okay, so this time we're in 4 to 5 months.
Mhm.
Also, start shopping and buying. If you're going to do gifts and exchange gifts with your spouse, buy the gifts.
okay.
Make sure you have your rings.
Yep.
If you're getting gifts for your wedding party, your parents, anything like that, I'd start buying them now
Okay. All
and
right.
just making sure you get that done. And then if you're having any extra parties like the welcome
Mm.
party or a rehearsal dinner or the after party or a brunch,
Yep.
this is the time to really start like getting all those plans solidified. Make sure you have a venue booked if you need to book a separate venue. Some people are just doing, backyard barbecues,
Right.
quiet dinners. Some people are, renting out an entire room at a restaurant and
They're
doing
going
it
all
there.
out.
Yeah, so it really depends on your budget, what you want to do.
Okay.
But you're planning that in the 4 to 5 month range. And then we're also sending out invitations. We've already ordered our invitations. You've already had your, calligrapher, if you hired one, look through those. But now we're getting ready to send those out. And I would say make sure that you do it around the 4-month mark. I'm always an early person, like send them out
Sure.
early. But no later than that, like 3-month mark. Some planners will say 2 and be like, oh, you have time. And if you're having a local wedding with local guests, sure.
Right. Not a big deal.
Yeah, but we deal with a lot of destination weddings out
Yeah.
here. And like I said, I'm an early bird. So do that 3 to 4 month mark.
That really sums up our 4 to 5
Mhm.
month time frame. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to get back into it for the 2 to 3 months where it's really crunch time now. And we're going to get into all the nitty gritty details here. And also, too, I want to let everyone know that we are going to talk about some shortened time frames here because I do understand that not everyone's going to have that 18-month time frame. So at the end, we'll jump into that, and I'll try to bring it up as we go through, because I know all of you are like, "Hey, what about me? I'm planning it in 6 months," which is what I wish to do, but not going to happen. Also, remind me about rings. We got to talk about guys' rings. There's a bunch of sites I'm getting bombarded with advertising, so we have to talk about that. I will be back in just a few seconds. I'm here with Allesha Groom. This is the Wonderful World of Weddings. Check us out, listen to us, and we'll be right back in just a few. Thanks, guys. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wonderful World of Weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. This show is sponsored by Be Remembered, where you can have a wonderful wedding experience. Jump on our site at berememberedweddings.com if you want to learn more about the show, or go ahead and send in a question, send in your story. Go to berememberedweddings.com/podcast, and you can fill out our inquiry form right there and chat us up. Let us know what's going on. We can bring back on Allesha. We can have another individual back on for your question. We really want to help you planning your wedding, and that's why we have the wonderful Allesha Groom here for our second installment here. We are talking about wedding planning. We have been going through all of the different months. We are currently on 2 to 3 months out. We're going to get into 5 to 6 weeks out right now. So we're in crunch time, people. We are definitely in crunch time with the 2 to 3 months. What happens in that crunch time? What are we doing? We're not planning so much anymore. We're really finalizing, correct?
Definitely finalizing. And just to piggyback real quick, I forgot, and I wanted to say this last time, but when you're sending out your invitations, if you don't know when to put your RSVP date, talk to your planner or look through your contracts and find the earliest date that a head count is required, and then put your RSVP date a week before that, so you can get all the stragglers in.
That makes sense. Now, my question is, that RSVP date, you don't have a planner. Where are you finding that? Contract with the venue?
Contract with the venue, contract with the caterer. Those are going to be the two ones that you really need to hit up, because they're the ones that really care about that head count.
Understood. Okay. Awesome. All right. So, and we're sending that in. You said send it to them the earliest convenient time for them, right? Is that how it works on those contracts? Do they say like, here's the latest time, or do they say here's the earliest time?
They'll say we need a final head count by, and they'll say like 60 days in advance, 30 days in advance. So whatever that date is, the earliest date. So if it says 60 days in advance and the caterer is like, I need a head count 60 days in advance, then make sure your RSVP dates are saying a week before that 60 days date. So you can make sure that if there are stragglers, you can hound them down. And if you always have stragglers, say to them, you know what, my wedding planner said that you have to have your RSVP in by this date. And just put the blame on us. We'll be the bad guys.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that for everyone out there. Perfect. All right. So we went ahead. We have all that in. We have the RSVPs in. What's next? What's that? What's on our 2 to 3 month to-do list here?
Right. We are going to make sure you have all of your accessories, shoes, veil, jewelry, any special makeup or anything that you need, watches for the guys, stuff like that.
I have a question. This is a guy question. So for guys listening, I don't even think we need to know this. Where do you get the veil? Doesn't it come with the wedding dress?
No.
It doesn't?
No. You can get it from a bridal shop. You can order it online from
I thought they just all came together.
No. And the veils are unique. They'll range from being like just a little face covering veil to like this long cathedral Kardashian level.
I love how their name gets thrown into all of this extravagance.
Did you see the latest wedding?
Is that a serious question?
Yes, it is. So anyways, I know you didn't. Dan, who doesn't watch TV. The veil was for one of the sisters. She had this long cathedral length veil, which is the longest that you can get. And then she had it all embroidered and everything. And it had the Virgin Mary embroidered on it. Jesus. So that's what you saw with the veil, was this big white lace Virgin Mary on her veil.
As it's pulling her head.
No. It was down like more on the floor.
Yeah.
But the veil like stretched.
They just always pull. I always hear brides being like, oh, the greatest day was when I was like, I can put your veil in. And the bride just like, what? And I was like, what? Because I don't have hair. I can't put a veil in.
I think that's the general assumption.
It was great. I love doing it to people. They're just so thrown off.
But yeah, so that 2 to 3 month time frame, we're getting accessories, and then we're going to review your ceremony, processional, recessional order and make sure that's all lined up. You're going to finalize the timeline with your planner. And then if you haven't done so already, this is a great time to do a venue visit with your planner and any other vendors. Like if you have a decor vendor that specializes in like drapery or lighting or anything like that, they need to see the venue. Your planner needs to see the venue because we're finalizing out the layout and everything like that.
Right.
And it's not a visit that you have to rush and do the second you book the venue. This is something that can be waited on, and it generally doesn't take more than like a half hour.
So I get a question from a sales side all the time, and that is, should I book a planner if they haven't been to my venue before? My question is always yes, because one of the best things about anyone in the wedding industry, especially a good one, is our ability to improvise and understand any location that we walk into. I mean, that's our job, is to really walk in and see it for what it is and make it work. And not only work, but be extravagant. So do you find that to be a problem if you've walked into a venue you don't have worked with?
What I find to be, actually, no. As long as your venue manager is, open and you guys can work as a team, and then just understand the difference between the venue manager or the event manager that the venue is going to give you versus the wedding planner that you're going to hire.
Yes.
But as far as going into venues that are brand new, it's all a learning experience. And then you quickly learn that venue like the back of your hand because you're running all over the place. You're trying to make sure that everything's perfect. So it's really one of those things where you're on your toes and you learn it really, really quickly, and then it gets stored. So once you've been to a venue once, you've been there, So
absolutely. Yeah, I've never had it be a problem.
No.
And I've actually never had it be a benefit too, which is something, I've never been at a venue and then went back to that venue and said, oh, I'm so much better off. As a photographer, videographer, anything like that, I've never had that become a problem. I mean, a lot of the times when I've done the coordination side, I've walked into backyards and that's my canvas. And I'm like, okay, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it.
Pretty much. But no, as long as your person is adaptable and versatile, which all planners should be, that's part of the job.
Right. Absolutely.
Not going to the venue is fine.
All right. So we're in the 5 to 6 week time frame. And we're starting to really narrow this down by week now.
Yes. We're really getting there.
And there's so much. Is that why we're starting to really, I mean, week by week, are you checking in with your couple, or is it more just these are things we're looking for during this time frame?
I'd say that when I really start to hear from brides a lot, especially the brides that have kind of sat back, they did everything really early. The anxiety starts to kick in.
Right.
If it hasn't kicked in by that 8-week mark, it definitely has kicked in that 4 to 6 week mark. And they're like, oh my gosh, is everything ready? Do I have everything? And this is the time to make sure that you have everything ready. This is the time to go through your checklist, that dotting the I's, crossing the T's. We're really, really hitting it hard these 5 to 6 weeks. You're finalizing your details. You're doing final walkthroughs if they're needed. Final meetings with your vendors. All of your vendors should have their ducks in a row by this time. If you need small accessories like the cake serving utensils, the champagne flutes, get that stuff now.
The only thing I will tell you, so I'm going to stop you, just from a photo and video perspective, I'm going to stop you. And from a be remembered perspective, one thing that I found, photo and video can be really flexible. I don't know why this hasn't been in the past, but over the thousands of jobs that we've done, we found it to be very flexible. And I have waited to the 14 days out, the 2 weeks out, to get the timelines from couples. Now, this is mostly with couples that don't have planners, because what tended to happen was we were checking in at the 6-month time frame, the 3-month time frame, the 2-month time frame, and constantly it was, hey, here's the schedule. Oh, wait, we changed it. Oh, wait, we changed it. Oh, we're going to be here. Oh, this is happening. And it killed us because we had the 6-month layout that was in front of us. And we were reading that. We got there and we forgot that they sent us a new one or it didn't get sent to us.
Right.
And so the 14 days tended to be a really nice time frame
Yeah.
to get the most accurate information.
It's very common, especially if they don't have a planner, because the planner is really supposed to like wrangle all that information
Right.
and really like manage the timeline for the couple. And not just the timeline for the day of, but the timeline stretched over this, year and a half that you've been planning.
Yeah. And speaking of time, though, we do have to take a quick break. So we're going to take a quick break right now on the wonderful world of weddings. And then we're going to jump right back into this. We're going to talk a little bit about your DJs, your final song list, and then go into that 3 to 4 week time frame, that crunch time. So join us in just a few minutes. We'll get right back into it here with Allesha Groom on the planning, the part 2 of our planning podcast here on the wonderful world of weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. This show is sponsored by Be Remembered, where you can have a wonderful wedding. Join us in just a few minutes for part 3, guys. Talk soon.
Every step, writing stories that seek to be read, taking hold of the moment as we discover every color filled with wonder. Now we finally see we got everything we need. Here we go. All we need is an open road and a chance to see a never-ending world that's beautiful. Here we go with the sunlight on our skin. It's a brand new day. It's ours to take and we will let it in. This is where the adventure begins.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the wonderful world of weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. We are here with Allesha Groom. This is our third part of our second installment. We have a lot of numbers of the wedding planning podcast that we're trying to do right now to help you understand how to plan your wedding and also really just how to interact with your planner and get the most out of your wedding and in that service. So Allesha Groom is a wonderful planner here at Be Remembered. Be Remembered is our sponsor, where you can really have a wonderful wedding for photo, video, event planning, DJ, coordination, makeup, photo booth. Everything is all in house at Be Remembered, and the whole idea is to create an incredible price, an incredible quality, and really make it so your day is as flawless as possible. And for our planners, it makes life really easy when you do everything with us because one contact, one contract, and really just streamline the whole process.
Exactly.
For a better price. So win-win, especially in these tough economic times, but we want to get right back into it. We were into the 5 to 6 weeks, but we're ready to go on to 3 to 4. So let's finish up 5 to 6 weeks. We got to talk about DJ real quick and then head into our 3 to 4 and start wrapping up all the preparations.
Now, you said before we hit the break about the last minute changes in that 1 to 2 week mark.
Yes.
So it's not uncommon, like we were talking about over the break, to
especially if you don't have a planner.
Yeah, if you don't have a planner, and I said this to you right over the break, you're getting a lot of different opinions from a lot of people who decided at the very last minute they have an opinion. And then, sometimes that can really get into people's heads. So
they want to be involved, I think.
No, they want to be involved. They want to be included. But they're not understanding a lot of times that this is like a full production.
Right.
So what I want to really hit home here is last minute changes are going to be completely normal. It's not abnormal to, have to switch a table around or just move something just because of making it work better for flow. And sometimes things on paper look great, but once you go and you're like, okay, I'm in the space and we might need to change a few things. That's okay. If you've got a solid planner, they're going to keep all the vendors up to date and they're going to make sure that they're sending them out updated timelines as things change, and a final one when everything is completely done. But your timeline really should be pretty much done, this 5 to 6 week mark.
Okay.
But the other thing that I really want to say is finalize your DJ and band song lists.
Yes.
Make sure that this is done. couples have a hard time with this because they think it's going to be really, really easy. And then they sit down and they realize that maybe they have completely different music styles. Maybe they have music.
Yes, we do.
Maybe they have, an older crowd coming that doesn't really like the music and they're trying to cater to everybody.
Yep.
Well,
and the do not playlist is actually just as important. And I actually tell people to start with that too. Think about your audience and then go into your do not playlist. And we'll have a DJ on the show to talk about how to structure that. Because a lot of times you want guidance, but also the DJ's there to keep the flow. And so if they see people are starting or need a break, they may tone it down for a little bit, bring it back up. There's a bunch of different strategies involved that may help someone choose that playlist.
Yeah,
so
definitely. And the planners like to know, I know I definitely like to know what the playlist is looking like, especially for what song you're walking down the aisle to, what song you're recessing to, what song is supposed to be played when you're announced. That's all stuff that the planner needs to know and just make sure is on point and that the DJ has the right songs as well. Because we want to minimize the questions to the bride and deflect and put them all on the planner.
Gotcha. All right, so we're in 3 to 4 months. We're going to run through 3 to 4, 2, and 1 here. What's our 3 to 4? We're getting our final head counts first.
We're at 3 to 4 weeks. Provide the final head counts if you haven't done that already. Confirm all final payments. Make sure that you have enough money set aside for gratuities as well. Standard right now is 20%.
Okay.
Confirm your final beauty details and timeline. The beauty team should have definitely been communicating with the planner and making sure that everybody's all on the same page as far as timeline goes. And then that final timeline should be being sent out this time. So your planner should have all of the ducks in a row and sending it out. Anything that needs to be tweaked can be tweaked, but vendors should know what's going on at this point and should know who your planner is and get the timeline, the layout, all of that stuff.
And I also see here, obtain marriage license.
Yes.
That's a big one, huh?
Yes.
We got to do this thing legally.
Yes. So you have to go to your local city hall and just apply for your marriage license, depending on what state you live in. There might be like a grace period, like you apply for the license and then you wait like 48 hours and then you go pick it up, something like that.
Oh, it's that quick?
It depends on the state.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So each state is going to have their own way of doing it. So you just check out your local laws. And if you haven't hired, but have asked like a friend to officiate your wedding, make sure that they have their 1-day designation, which for Massachusetts and Rhode Island is totally a thing. Anybody can officiate your wedding as long as they have that 1-day designation.
Do you know James won't let me officiate his wedding?
I'm not surprised.
It would be funny. Come on.
It would be funny, but then it would be the Dan show.
I would make it sincere.
I know you would. But it's not about you. It's about James.
I know. Erin just looked at me and she's like, that will not happen. I was like, fine.
I'll do it. I'll remind James that I'm ordained.
That would be fantastic.
But yeah, so you're just confirming stuff.
Awesome. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Organize any and all DIY decor. So if you are a DIY bride, and I love my DIY brides, but this 2 weeks, organize your decor. Do it for yourself. Do it for your planner. Do it for everybody involved in setup. Organize it now.
Okay.
Because the week of your wedding is never fails, always hectic. You have relatives coming in. You have to pick people up from the airport. You're running around doing your last minute beauty stuff. So 2 weeks before, organize your DIY decor.
Okay.
Get that done. And then have your final dress fitting.
Yeah.
And really, start to wind down.
Okay. Wind down as we turn up.
Wind down for a little bit and then turn up.
Week 1.
1
week.
Putting together any favors if you're doing favors. I will say for a lot of people, favors are something that it's tending to be skipped. And they're not doing like the little candy bags or anything anymore. It's more of like photos. Or maybe
the photo booths are a big one now.
Photo booths are huge. The
giving one away,
the what's it called? The Polaroids.
Oh, those are awesome too.
Polaroids.
Yes,
I've seen that a lot. And then get your nails done, preferably towards the end of the week. So They're all nice and fresh. Make sure your overnight bags are packed. Any last minute errands that you have to do, get it all done this week.
Okay.
And now we're on the day before.
Yeah.
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 So
we have a lot going on there.
We're here.
Yeah.
You know,
the hotel's a big one too, I feel like.
Yeah, the hotel. Make sure that you're checked in. I would definitely check in if you didn't decide to get like a 3-night stay and do like the wedding night and the night before. I would do a pre-check-in as early as possible and just make sure it's easy peasy out of the way.
Yeah.
But we're on that day before. Drink lots of water. Relax. Have fun. Drink lots of water. Drink lots of water.
Don't freak out. I always tell brides too, I'm like, did you eat anything today?
Yes.
Did you drink
the day
water?
Of.
Yeah. But even the day before too, it's brutal. I'll be talking to them, I'm like, make sure to eat. I'm like, what?
I'll put it in their timelines, like a break for breakfast.
Yeah, you have to.
And make sure, because the brides will often, and not just the brides, the couples in general, they'll go through that timeline and they'll follow it.
Yeah. You know what the worst thing was? So we have this every once in a while where a bride will pass out. It's terrible. And that's why every day when I do getting ready for photo and video, I will sit there and I'm like, did you eat? Did you drink? And my biggest fear is they forget. They're nervous. By the end of the night, they have one drink and their system has nothing in it and they feel horrible. And I don't want that to be the case. That's terrible. And so my whole thing, because I love nutrition, I'm like, please eat. Like, just grab something, make sure to, etc. Yeah. And but one time the bride just fainted on Anthony, one of our videographers, and the groom just looked at her. And Anthony was like,
oh my goodness.
Pick her up. What are you doing? He's like, I didn't know what to do. I said, you smack him and you tell him that you failed. Okay. Day one. Figure it out.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So we're going to get right back to it in just a few seconds. We're going to take a quick break here on the Wonderful World of Weddings podcast. We'll be right back here. I'm Daniel. I'm with Allesha. We're going to be back talking about planning and wrapping this up with a shortened timeline, micro weddings, future trends, you name it, all right here on the Wonderful World of Podcast. See you in just a second. Thanks, guys. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wonderful World of Weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. I have the lovely Allesha Groom here, and we are talking about planning. This is our final segment of the day, and we're going to cover everything for you in this quick little tidbit. This is our part 2, our second episode of planning. We had one just the other week, and we were talking about all of the processes from 18 months to really the 6-month time frame. This one has been all about the weeks, months leading up to the big day, really crunch time. But Allesha and I wanted to, mainly because I'm clueless here and she's the intelligent one. So I need to ask the serious questions here.
Can you say that again?
No. That's about as much as you get. You don't hear it. So let's get into a few things. I have questions. I have a lot of questions. I have all the questions. Number 1. What if I don't want to do 6 months? I'm sorry, 12 to 18 months. I want 6 months. It's never going to happen, but just convince me that it can so I can use it as an argument for all of my brides and couples out there like, hey, I'm going to do this in 6 months time frame. Is it a compressed schedule? Or are we throwing things out? How do we do this? And give me it in like a 2-minute answer.
It's a compressed schedule.
Okay.
So you're going to do everything that you're doing for a 12 to 18 month planning timeline, but you're just going to shorten your entire timeline.
So it's stressed.
Yeah. You're really going to still book your vendors. So the second you get engaged, book those vendors. Your wedding date may really then depend on what date is available.
Okay.
What venue you want, what date is available. So you're really going to have to go and hit hard on that.
There's going to be limited choices.
And that's really what's going to come down to is it's limited choices. You know, and we talked about getting the off the rack dress and, ordering things online, DIYing stuff. So it's going to be a lot of work in a really compressed schedule. And I mean, you're doing it in half the time realistically.
Right.
So you got to just plan for that. But the buffer time that you would have in a full year of planning just is gone. So
you're
still doing all the same stuff, just quicker.
My next question is, and this kind of rolls one into the other, micro weddings. So what do you define as a micro wedding? Are we just taking out a lot of the extravagance? Is that how?
How I would define a micro wedding would be the guest size, the guest list. That's how, for me, that's really what the defining factor is. If you've got 50 or less guests, we're really kind of going into this like small wedding. And if it's like less than 30, then you're really in the micro wedding.
And the guests really do, I'm going to say become a problem, but that's not what I mean at all. But that is the workload, correct?
There's going to be less RSVPs to track.
Mhm.
There's less that you're going to be spending on rentals and decor because you're not going to have
And
to
food.
and food and
Yeah.
the bar.
Yeah. Smaller venue.
Yeah,
More
smaller
options
venue.
now because I don't know if there's more small venues out there, but there's more options. Like you could do a park. You could do a
park,
backyard.
You could do a nice home rental.
Mhm.
I think Airbnb has taken it off as an option, but a lot of Airbnb hosts do allow events. You just have to like go through them separately or
Okay.
individually and be like, hey, I'd like to do this. VRBO still does events. So you can like search for vacation homes and do a backyard wedding. So,
Okay.
say your backyard isn't, big or it's tiny or you live in an apartment, condo, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, I want to have a backyard wedding. Go through VRBO,
Right.
rent a house and do it there.
But there's a lot of DIY now.
A lot of DIY.
Okay.
Lots of DIY.
And that's where the planner really kicks in for something like that.
And the micro weddings don't have to be DIY. Your
Sure.
entire budget is smaller. Your floral budget is smaller, but you don't need as many centerpieces. You don't need as many bouquets. So everything is just on a smaller scale.
Okay.
And then the micro wedding is different from the elopement.
Yeah.
So, an elopement, couple of people, you run into the courthouse or you're just doing something really, really private. And we're going to focus on the fact that that's literally like 5 people, including your officiant and your witnesses.
Mhm.
So that micro wedding is just like that step above the elopement, but below the small wedding.
Okay. All right. Now let's get into the fun part. Now, I'm a hip guy.
He's hip to the jive.
Tyler, our producer, is shaking his head because I made some dad comments yesterday and he was not too happy with me. I said, guys, am I hip? I said some word. I was like, guys, am I hip? And then he's just like, please don't ever say that again. He looked like a child that was so disappointed in his father. It was fantastic. So I did my job. Regardless, give me some trends. What are people doing now that they weren't? You've been in this industry, you've seen it change. I've seen it change with photo and video. What are you seeing in terms of bookings that, we talked about this yesterday, or the last time we did this, the hotels, blocks out the window.
Yeah.
What else are we looking at that might impact a wedding?
The room blocks are a dying trend. Booking.com, VRBO, Airbnb, that's what we're seeing a lot of. I mean, we still will reach out for room blocks, and I told you this earlier, it's really like a lot of the hotels are saying no, especially like the smaller boutique places are saying no. I would definitely say since COVID, the micro wedding is like this huge trend that we're seeing a surge of because, people were locked inside for so long, but they still wanted to do things.
Yeah.
Guys' rings. I know you wanted to talk about this, but
yes,
this is a trend.
yes.
Like we're starting to see new rings. It's not just the simple gold band anymore.
No.
It's all kinds of stuff. Like and
wood.
Wood, antler.
Yeah.
I told you my fiance says meteorite in his. He was like super excited about that.
And there's a site online. I get advertisements for it all the time. My entire ads are all wedding.
Yeah.
And, it's ridiculous. But these rings are amazing.
Oh,
they're very cool.
They're nice. And
yeah,
like his glows in the dark.
They're cheap too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. And, we were talking about this too. That makes me a little sketched out because I think a big day like this deserves things that are expensive, but they're not always. They don't have to be.
Doesn't always equal quality.
Yes.
And that's where we have to really look at things. If you want to have a big budget ring for your groom, have a big budget ring for your groom. Get that thing diamond encrusted and that's fine. But you don't have to do that.
Guys have diamond encrusted rings.
Yes, they do.
Really?
Yes.
That
the
is
guys'
too
rings
funny.
can get just as extravagant
Bedazzled.
as the girls. Yes. But it's definitely this trend where we see guys are having choices and they're
Okay.
getting to express their personality with the ring. And their
Oh
partners are
boy.
also getting to pick out a ring. Like I got to pick out my fiance's ring, and it wasn't just a gold band. It was
Right.
something that I could put thought and effort into that he liked that
Yeah.
didn't break the bank.
Hmm.
So I definitely see that. And then we're also seeing less garter tosses and bouquet tosses.
Yes. Yes.
Like that one's going out the window.
But you did forget one. And
Which
I don't
one?
know if you're just seeing this, but I see it quite often. Getting ready locations are also rental homes.
Yes. Yeah, they are.
It's a huge thing for
Yeah.
groomsmen and bridesmaids. I love it.
And it's convenient.
Very convenient.
So convenient.
Yes, much better than hotels, because hotels can be dark, small, tight. It can be really rough to do photos, videos. The rental homes can be beautiful, especially if you're by the ocean. Oh my God,
And then
I
you
love
can
them.
have breakfast with, all of your party. You
Yep.
can have like the time with your parents and everything. There's a place for everybody to be.
Right.
That and the cramped, especially if you have a large wedding party. We had one where the groomsmen and the bride both had 10 people on each side.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way those people were cramming into a hotel room.
And it doesn't even matter. I mean, even the suites in a hotel room.
Not big enough.
No.
No.
Especially for your local hotel. That's the biggest thing is if you're doing it local, you really get kind of cornered there.
Yeah, and we're seeing it a lot too down the Cape where the hotels just don't have the capacity. And they're not even full-on hotels. They're little motels.
Bed and breakfast.
Yeah,
type
bed
places.
and breakfast,
Yeah.
mom and pop type shops, which are really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not as convenient as the rental homes.
All right, give us your last one. We got to wrap it up for the day.
I would say I'm seeing a lot less of the stuffy, I don't want to even say stuffy, the older traditions. And we talked about this earlier, like the asking of the parents.
Yep.
And
Well, no, I would make an argument that's coming back.
Right, you said that.
Yeah.
I hear less brides talking about it. I hear it less about everyone wanting to do things the quote unquote right way.
Yeah.
Which I'm on board with. I think
Yeah.
that it's your day, it's your wedding, and you need to be able to
Ooh, this could be a
celebrate.
whole argument, maybe another podcast.
You need to celebrate you guys as a couple and do it in the best way that fits you guys as a couple.
I'm feeling an argument. I love it.
Ooh.
Oh, yes. So
Listen.
that's perfect for all of you to join us again on the Wonderful World of Weddings. So we will be back. I will have Allesha back on. That is for sure. Maybe I'll have an argument with another random person. Who knows?
Oh, Lord.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It has been absolutely fantastic. And
Loved it.
we really appreciate your insight. We hope all of you appreciated her insight. Please go ahead, give us a rating on all of these podcast locations. Listen to us on WCRN. We really appreciate everyone tuning in, and we hope to see you again soon. And don't forget to go to BeRememberedWeddings.com and /podcast to fill out all the information that you want to hear. We can't wait to have you listen in again. Thanks, guys.